I will do that. So I did start yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it's doing. Like the trainers? Yeah. They just literally tip, right? Tip. Yeah, because I know the bowling green on the 700, so I'm sure you can find something. Check online if we can ask around.
I can check.
So, дорогие,
Да, потому что уже поздно.
да.
Девчата, вы будете? Или ты хочешь?
Ну, я раньше хотела
So I don't know.
Не можете. Дякуємо.
Like do 10 minutes? We should do 10 minutes?
Mike, take a picture of us.
Поэтому, когда формат we have to go earlier for the next ones. It has to be earlier to make room for the.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
А что, она одна? Фотография.
Well, they didn't want to, yeah, anywhere.
А что вы тут делали? Это так классно там.
And then,
Девчонки, давайте я вас создам.
Конрад радий зробити хоча б 10 хвилин лайвстріму. Ми щось попитаємо вас.
Так.
А що питати?
That's what I told them. That's what I told them. They didn't just, see later. It's gonna be safe. Right.
All right.
Let's do at least, so like 10 minutes or so, and we should be good.
Я сделал заметки,
Вот вы что-нибудь прокомментировали?
Да.
Да.
Майкл, если хочешь, может, что-то ты прокомментируешь, потому что он служил,
Да.
и как бы...
Он понимает?
На английском.
Да, я поэтому говорю.
Ну, он говорит на английском.
If you wouldn't mind, commenting something, asking, we're just gonna do it for like 10 minutes, questions from, from ourselves. Huh?
Yeah, like just tell
Join the
about
table,
your
I guess.
experience in
Yeah, when
Ukraine
you got
as a soldier.
Yeah. Well,
I do both.
everyone should be here.
Multitasking.
Yeah. Come over as well. Sit down.
Оксана, может, ты поснимаешь? Все. Оксана can take a pictures and video.
Do we want to use this? Or do we...
Я Іра буде appreciate, I
Воно все
guess.
буде записано і потім буде онлайн.
Супер.
Слово забув. Подалі, да.
Вообще, я не хочу ответственность за это, потому
Ну ничего, никто не хочет.
давайте я буду сама на свой телефон.
Ира хочет использовать потом как типа whatever.
Не, ну если я тебя прошу на телефон, только горизонтально. Хорошо? Не вертикально, а горизонтально.
Чтобы потом вдруг фильм использовать или еще что-то, знаешь.
No, like flash. I don't
Ну,
know.
давайте, вот хорошие фотографии.
Можешь...
Так, пускай Аня еще только не сосредоточилась. Почти хорошо. Хорошая фотография.
Хто буде задавати питання?
У нас є модератор.
Наші друзі, хто залишилися. Connor, let us know when.
it's live right now.
It's 5, we're good to go.
Hi everyone, we're gonna have like this little panel discussion. It's not gonna be that many of us, only those who left. Unfortunately, it was the very last minute, so we had to cut it short. But we got to talk to a few people afterwards. Our filmmakers got to talk to and share experiences and hear lots of words of gratitude and sympathy, and just talking about how more and more people, more Americans, more just people around the world needs to see this raw footage, how it's important not to see just, because the news cycle is less and less covering war in Ukraine. We only see usually just a few photos or short videos and not enough graphics, where this was absolutely raw from the inside, showing what's going on, how people are surviving, the constant sound of bombing, constant sound of shooting close by, and the civilians just trying to survive and to live their day-by-day lives, however they can without barely any resources. I'll stop talking. I'll pass the word to our esteemed panel, our filmmakers. And you guys have comments, questions, please feel free to share them, to tell them. Let's dive into it.
Got your mics. Oh, which one wants to be first?
Anyone wants to start?
You can start and then...
I probably don't really have questions because unfortunately this is so close to me, so understandable to me that all I can do is just sigh, sitting there and just. So I fully understand what it is, how it feels. It's horrific to watch all of this, and it's just another necessary reminder to all of us that, hey, it's not over. It's been almost 3 years. What are we waiting for? Give them everything they need. Give, as we've been saying, advocating for Ukraine, as we've been doing rallies, protests, like Valeria was telling earlier today, get out there, protest, demand returning of the POWs, demand for Ukraine to be led, to strike back and use all capabilities to the fullest. And that's why what we saw today, in particular, that's like, again, girls said earlier today, there's no city anymore. There's no Mariupol left, and that is unacceptable. We're living in the 21st century. This is 2024, and this war is dragging for 30 years, almost 3 years now. Give them everything they need, because again, the firepower, the humanitarian aid, it's all humanitarian aid because it saves lives of Ukrainians, those in particular who we saw on the screen today. And probably the question would be, do you guys know if those people are still alive, or are you still in touch with them?
Unfortunately, I don't know if they're still alive, but when I get out of Mariupol, I contacted a girl with the children whom you've seen in the film. And she told me that before Easter 2022, the priest threw everyone from this church. I don't know if someone survived, especially older. And unfortunately now this girl also not in touch with me. I don't know if she's alive, I hope so. Yeah.
Understandably. Yes, absolutely.
So Hannah, the film doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
So after the film, you and Mantas went through quite a bit. Would you tell us a little bit more about what happened and how you then got him out, how you got yourself out, and what your impressions were from behind enemy lines?
I guess it would be reasonable if I would tell how we decided to go there. So it was not like I have here with me and my classmate, because like I was living in Uganda with my husband. And then full-scale invasion happened, and like after my birthday, we decided that we are not. We can't call ourselves filmmakers if we won't go there. So I wrote to our working chat and told that we are going to Mariupol. But we went there not just because of the film. We knew that news are not coming, so you don't know actually what's going on. But we strongly believed and we knew that civilians are there. And we also knew that they are running out of supplies. So we called our executive producer and her family and told that how is it in Mariupol? And sorry, like she said, it's like shit, but you should come. They was already in Lviv. So Irina and her family helped us with supply, with humanitarian aid. Some of them we bought like on our way from Poland. So basically we flew from Uganda to Lithuania, from Lithuania we went by bus to Lviv. So they gave us a car, provided us a car, humanitarian aid, and we went there. Our initial idea was to go to the theater, drum theater. When we hit Dnipro, city in Ukraine, It was suggested that we should wait for a couple of days because one of our volunteers they went there and these people could not found them even a sign if they are alive. So we waited for a couple of days in Dnipro, and I remember when I switched on TV in the hotel, we were staying in the hotel, and news reached that drama theater was bombed. So it was like a feeling that, like, you know, it was a place where you like already mentally there, but it does not exist anymore. We decided that we would continue our trip anyway, and so we went there. I'll jump to your question, right? In the film, it's like the top of the iceberg. It's like I didn't want to show the atrocities you saw, only like few bodies, a couple of bodies, and mostly destruction. I wanted to feel an audience what we did feel there. It's for me, it's a feeling of claustrophobia, and when it's like soundless, it scares you even more. Uh, And then, like also, I didn't show how Russians was came to this church, how we was like almost executed a few times, and they took our car there. So people that's supposed to believe in this us was stuck, and we and the people stuck there. But when we came to Mariupol, like it was our car and other person's car, like volunteer, but he went like immediately because he was returning to Ukraine, and we stayed. So he like after a week he came back and our car was already taken, and he was surprised that we're still there. So we asked him to take us and also people that we plan to take from the church. Also, we did have a list of the people whom we are supposed to evacuate. So we moved to other area of Mariupol, which was already occupied. Sorry for my and we stayed there at night because when we was about to leave the church, it's like shells started. So and this church went to fire. So we tried to extinguish fire, and we should wait. So it was close to the perfect time. So we moved and we had to spend. His mother was living in other area of the city, so we spent the night there, and then in the morning I heard Mantas and this volunteer talking about like that they want to go and ask neighbors if they have smaller car, take this car and like go through the city to pick up people because it would be easier. So when Mantas came to the house, I was like, I want to go with you, and he's like, no, like you should not. And I'm like, yeah, probably I should not go because if they would find the car, I would occupy down of the seat of someone. So I want people to be safe, not just like visiting there. So they went together, and it was like 27th of March. And they didn't come back this day, and we started to be worried. But I didn't know where they go. So I checked like neighbor's street, but not a sign of them. Next day, like early morning, I heard people coming. So I ran to the yard and they didn't see him. So it's like women and children was coming, and this man, and I was asking like where Marcus is, and he's like he's not here, and like I didn't believe him, like I thought he's like joking, kidding, and he was like, oh, he was super nervous and like Russians saw us yesterday and they stopped us. Then they realized that Mandas had like bruise from the backpack, and they checked his passport and they finally realized that he's Lithuanian. So they claim that he's like not a soldier. So everyone was released but him. This man told me that he won't wait for anyone, like he's just leaving. I like asked to pick up these people from the church he was like arguing with me, but he finally got them. And he left basically. I didn't have like he told me just the nickname of one of the soldiers who was responsible for yeah, for like whatever activity. And like some approximate like area where they was stopped. So I went to look, like I told him that I'm not living with you, I can't leave my husband here. And so I ran like through the city. Uh, and the area where they was like stopped and kept, it was like zero line. So it was like street fighting and tanks and like also aviation and so on. Somehow I'm like survived. So I started looking for him, ask Denier soldiers, like Donetsk people of Republic. So this area was not Russians, but like
Rebels,
Yeah.
they're called rebels, actually.
Yeah.
Donetsk National Republic, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a self, proclaimed
Yeah.
territory that's been
But it was
annexed,
like
yeah,
sorry.
under Russia, yeah, just fighting with Russians, yeah.
And so yeah, some of them was like willing to talk, other one was like just pointing at me, armor. Um, and then I like found the chief of the unit. He like told me that this nickname that I had is his soldier. So I was like, oh, so you know my husband. And he's like, no, I don't know anything. And I'm like, so just like attack your soldier. And he's like, no, he's like just fighting there. And I got like mad at some point. I'm like, but where do you keep like arrested people? And he's like, I don't know. And I got mad and I'm like, look, I'm like, no hold everything. Like I'm walking here and third time of the day, like here. So, and I'm from Lugansk area, but I believe that my city not occupied, and like just arrest me, and maybe I will be there. My husband is, and he start to laugh like you know what he told me. Just depend where you came from. It's like this zero line. Put your arms up, and my soldier will gonna rape you, and we're gonna say that it's Ukrainians. But I'm a good person. I don't want to take this sign and sin on my heart. I wanna help people. And he started to laugh. And then the same person, like he told me that your husband is killed like on 30th of March, and so you didn't know my husband, right? Yeah.
This absolutely heartbreaking, and it's so important for everyone to know
Yes.
what you went through, what Mantas went through, and again, what was the price of this film and of this footage, and these people, you gotta remember, he's Lithuanian. He didn't have to go. He chose to, he wanted to share this information with the rest of the world. He felt an obligation, to show the truth. And he sacrificed his life for it.
Of course, I don't think that any film was, but we decided, like, we agreed that we might be killed together, or some of us. We knew that where we were, and it was just, like, you can't resist this.
I have a question from a viewer. Okay, 3-part question. So give him a second. He says, a friend of mine is from Mariupol. His uncle was killed while trying to leave. His father was not permitted to leave by the Russians, but at the very least, he was able to escape with his mother. Before, during, and after the siege, each message he sent has included a strong sense of humor, along with an even stronger sense of pride in the UA armed forces and pride to be Ukrainian. But the question is, what are some moments you can share in regards to Ukrainian humor and morale in the face of Russian aggression?
Wonderful question. I will quickly translate for them. Питання було, українці мають сенс дуже гумористичний, так? Ми завжди шукуємо, ми завжди жартуємо. І питання було, наскільки почуття гумору допомагає виживати, допомагає боротися і виживати.
Sorry, wrong language. Of course, it helped. Like in the film, I guess you witness like some like teeny tiny jokes, and like when the dog ate butter, or like woman was like telling like, or like it's like bombing permanently, and you can't go to toilet, and like just like imagine, or like people was like fight. It was huge fight, and like people was like just fixing their windows, and like we start to laugh, and it was like yeah, it just helps, and it's part of our life. Or like it was interesting feeling when we was there, and then most of the time in the basement, and then you go outside, and like you don't have like line, you don't have internet, you don't have like anything. So, and like then you look at the sky, and it's like sunny, and like wow.
Anybody else?
You just want to share?
The sense of humor.
I guess Ira can share like how she getting herself each night, because she and her husband her husband is military. What's happening? And each day, like she would prepare herself, like clean her, like wash herself, put like nice underwear in case she would not be killed. She wasn't ashamed.
Може, ти хочеш поділитися, як ти завжди в тебе почуття гумору було, і що ти завжди була красива, готова, якщо ти помреш, ти будеш в красивій білизні, красиво одягнена.
Так, це обов'язково.
Це не жарт. Це не жарт, але
Ти кажи, я переведу.
Ну, це ж питання не до нижньої білизни,
Це в цілому.
в цілому, до гумору. Але це теж має відношення до гумору. Ти можеш перекладати?
Так, мені треба мікрофон для того.
Ну візьми у Гані.
Нас їх 3, то ми маємо.
Ага.
And немає.
Ну, ми і зараз з чоловіком знаходимося практично на війні, так? Тільки виїхали нещодавно з Покровська і будемо знову повертатися на Донеччину.
So her and her husband are practically at war at the moment because they just left Pokrovsk and will be ready, you know, to continue fighting.
Ну і коли я збираюсь, він на службі, а я збираюсь там до магазину, щоб його нагодувати, і в мене весь час бійці, я обов'язково надягаю на себе саме красиву ніжну білизну, тому що якщо прилетить ракета або бомба, авіабомба, я повинна на столі красиво, якщо щось залишиться, красиво лежати. Так, красиво піти, так.
So when she cooks for soldiers or helps in all the different ways, she always makes sure she has beautiful undergarments and she's always, you know, good looking and prepped in case the, you know, some kind of bomb will fly in and she will die. At least she will be dead but beautiful.
Lying on the table.
Like just laying on the table, but you know, in the best looking possible way.
І коли ми виїжджали з Маріуполя, ми не знали, ми вивозили ще батьків мого чоловіка, ми вивозили племінницю з маленькою дитиною, і ми не знали, скільки буде в них речей.
When we were helping
Племінниця.
Ні,
Ні,
Батьків мого чоловіка.
So when they were helping to evacuate the parents of her husband and the niece, they were not sure how much stuff they have and you know how they can do it.
І ми нічого з собою не брали. Я навіть залишила всі свої нагороди, які в мене були військові, і у чоловіка, у мого журналістки, військові, і кіношні. Але я прихватила з собою 2 великих пакета нижньої білизни, причому всі ці набори були нові з етикетками, тому що я, по-перше...
So they had like so many awards, like her husband, all his service awards, and for the volunteering, for you know, for fighting all their film awards, hers, and you know, and her husband, and they didn't take any of that when they were leaving, when they were evacuating. But she made sure to grab 2 bags, full stack of lingerie and beautiful undergarments. Some were like brand new, had labels on it. That was the priority.
І муж мені каже, він хотів на себе надіти новий пуховик, який він дуже любив, я йому його подарувала, але я йому сказала, ні, не треба, бо будемо десь полями бігти, ти його розірвеш, а так 5 днів ти повернешся і його надінеш. І той пуховик так і залишився у Маріуполі. А він мені каже, а навіщо ж ти тоді береш ніжну білизну? А я кажу, ну то ж ніжна білизна, я завжди повинна бути красива. Зверху може бути все, що завгодно, але знизу все повинно бути красиво.
Long story short, very insider's information. Only those who are watching this live got lucky to find out. But her husband had this brand new, good, nice parka coat, essentially. And when they were leaving, he wanted to wear that one, and you know.
When they was leaving Mariupol.
When they were leaving Mariupol. But she said, no, hold on, we're gonna be running in the field, and we'll be escaping. It's gonna get dirty. You may rip it. It's gonna get all messed up. Let's just leave it behind. But he was like, oh, but you're taking the underwear, you know, this lingerie and undergarments. I was like, what's the difference? She's like, well, that one is always on me. It's always, you know, underneath. It'll be fine. It's not gonna get messed up. Let's keep your parka there. When we will be back to Mariupol, we'll pick it up. So it's still hanging there, waiting, but probably not.
І ще 2 секунди додам. Навіть мої діти зараз весь час вже 2,5 роки повномасштабної на війні жартують, коли я кажу, ну блін, одягти на себе нічого, а вони кажуть, та мама, в тебе дві вализи, ніжки вилизи, будеш тепер все життя носити.
The kids, and imagine listening to this while, your kids are like right there listening to your mom telling the story. Right there, right here. Yeah, both of them. And they're like, oh, embarrassing me.
That's their job.
But,
That's their job.
yeah, right? And they're like, Mom, why would you, wear it? She's like, no, I gotta make sure I always look good. I always have the nicest lingerie. It's important. It's necessary. They've been joking about it and they've been talking about it for 2 years now. It's been a running joke in the family.
I will add a little bit of translation if you allow. Yeah. She said to her husband that you're going to be back in 5 days. Don't worry about it. It's going to be here, brand new. The moment you're back, it's going to be brand new.
Right.
And she keeps the underwear for herself, just in case. That's how brave Ukrainian women are.
Yep. That's the reality.
What the next question?
Do we have any more questions?
Not yet. But more you talk, the more people will.
Well, of course, yeah. We'll keep it.
I mean, I guess question is, how is the reception this documentary in the West, in the United States or in Western Europe? Because I think it's popular in Eastern Europe, but what about in Western Europe and the United States?
We just recently started to show this film in the US, but in Portland it was like, a lot of people came, and they've been curious and asking questions, and they support, so it's nice. In Europe, this film won European Film Awards, so it's like kind of European Oscars. My goal to show this film to the smaller communities, because festival films usually would be left aside, and it's already this film considered to be old, and it's lived its life for 1 year, and then that's it. So that's why I want to show smaller communities, even in Ukraine, not everyone saw this film because it was somewhere in the festivals, but it's never reached regular people. So
it's worth mentioning that this film will be shown in multiple cities around the U.S. and we're working on adding more. So far, we got Chicago confirmed.
Chicago, New York, and we're looking at DC.
So Chicago, New York, and most likely DC. If you know somebody, reach out to us. We'd love to put in as many, in front of as many eyes as possible. We will be reaching out to as many communities around the U.S. To show this film.
And notable is also that in Cannes and in Berlin, it was an awarded film. So it won awards for itself in 2 very well-known festivals.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So I remember pretty well sitting on a base outside Lviv in March of 2022. And there was a point at which all eyes were on Mariupol. And a lot of the news we were getting was through social media. And I remember my heart sank when I heard that the Marines were forced to surrender. And then a week or 2 after that is when Azov formally surrendered. And a lot of the news I was getting through kind of unofficial channels. You weren't getting this from the equivalent of CNN, or it was stuff coming through Twitter. It was stuff you're picking up on Reddit, Telegram. When you were there, did you have any idea about what was unfolding as far as how long this was going to last, what was happening on the battlefield, or was it mostly opaque? I mean, you knew there was fighting, obviously, but did you have a sense of
when I was already in Mariupol, you mean?
Mm-hmm. When you were there in the church?
So the thing was that we could not get out from this church, so we would get news if some people would go to get the water, and they was removing dead bodies, and you might be next. So, and the other person was going like for, how does it call?
Переливание крови.
Blood transfusion.
Yeah, for a blood transfusion. So this machine was staying somewhere like outside because hospital was bombed. So, and he had to do it like each 2 days, otherwise he gonna die. So he was like constantly going there. He might be not be back, but he would be dead. Anyways, so these people like could bring some piece of the news, so where Russians like are or like what's happening. But being in the church, we even didn't know what is like on the next street, because like Russians was passing by, so that's how you see them, and like know that they are going to the Azovstal. But in general, no. When I was looking for mantas, as I mentioned before, this part of the city was already occupied. So that's how, like it was fighting on this area, and I guess it was 3 points. So like there, and like I don't remember now names, and Azovstal. So that's how I knew when I like was returned to Lithuania. I thought that city failed, and Lithuanians was like, "Oh no, Anna, what are you talking about? No, it's like it would stay." I'm like, "No, it's already gone." And I did interview, and this like information with me was cut, and like, and then. Azov was like asked that they should give up, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact because lots of the time Westerners don't know a lot from the inside, or it's always unconfirmed, like you were mentioning, or everyone stays hopeful. Everyone really like, no, I'll be fine. No, it's just rumors. It's just this.
Yeah.
But the people from the inside know best, and when they understand, they feel, no, this is
I just returned from there, so like I told what I saw and the experience. So it's like Russians was everywhere. It was a bit different when we just came, and in 1 week it's totally changed.
Yeah, it's this kind of facts, this kind of insider information you can't deny from somebody who literally just left. Was literally right there. So yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you so much. Do we have anything?
Yeah.
Как далеко от церкви была больница?
Больница там, где переливание крови?
Да.
Далеко через весь город. Вот
И как
девочки,
было
17 микрорайон.
да, от сколько от этой церкви примерно было кілометрів?
Ну, це один ні, ну це не в кварталах, це один район.
Ну, типу, в кілометрах скільки від церкви це?
Ну, я не можу.
Ну, може, 10.
Так,
Around 10 кілометрів.
Це багато.
Ні, десь так.
Але
Десь так.
10 кілометрів,
Да, якщо не
ні,
більше.
менше. Але під час бойових дій, коли кожні 100 метрів, і це передова, коли ти розумієш, що в тебе на голову може прилетіти що завгодно, і в який завгодно момент, це просто завелике.
Can you translate the question and answer that it's around 10 kilometers? It's like even more. I don't know how much it's in.
Roughly 7 miles or so. So the question was, how far is the hospital? I mean, the church, where that we've seen in the movie, is from that blood transfusion center, and it's pretty far, especially when you're fighting, and every meter, every yard is so much blood shed, so many lives lost, I mean, back and forth, you gain it, you lose it. Just so you understand how far those two spots were from each other, it's roughly 7-8 miles, 10 kilometers, more or less. So it's a huge distance. Fighting through that and going, this much is, takes enormous resources, human resources, ammunition, and everything else.
I have a question. Yes, sure.
So the decision to stay in the church all the time, was it influenced by the fact that it was dangerous to travel around, or by the decision to make a cinematography, or, you know, wise like a movie that would capture the everyday life in such detail, or was it because it was just dangerous? You stayed in one place.
It was both. First of all, thank you very much. First of all, it was dangerous to move somewhere, so it was like in Mariupol, it was our second stop, and we could not get further. So we decided to stay for one day there, and next day to leave in some maybe other area. But apparently it's never happened, and we decided to film there. So yeah.
All right, we got one question from online, bring it on, Conrad.
Yep, it says from this person, did making this documentary change your personal perspective on the war, and if so, how?
Thank you for the question. Yes, of course, it changed my life, not only perspective. I don't know, like it's too many how to like just point it one. But it was like, it was an experience. In some way, it was nice experience. You know the value of life and of relationship between people, of like respect, and because you have a different feeling when you're on the front line. It's like you dead or alive, and you don't involve into dramas or some like kind of our normality here. You don't care like once like some guy asked me, "Oh, may I buy a cigarette?" I started to laugh. What are you gonna do with your money? And we can just put it in the fire. It's like it stopped to be matter. And of course, if we would not do this film, maybe I would never, like it's one thing to talk about it and other things to live and experience this. So even like in this church, like people was like who was pro-Ukrainian, who was pro-Russia, but they still like live together. It's also showed me like it's Russian-speaking people there, and we didn't have a time to think about language because at that point it was not, it didn't matter what language do you speak because the bombs won't stop to fall on your head. So what you have is like just people around you.
I'm going to translate real quick, yeah.
Питання було, чи змінила війна ваші погляди на життя, і якщо змінила, то як?
До всіх?
Хто, якщо хочете, хтось, так. Передала.
Скажи. Змінила війна твої погляди на життя?
Війна, а чи
Війна?
ну, коли фільм знімали?
Коли знімали фільм, так.
Вони не були там.
Фільм, на симках вже ж не були.
Зрозуміло.
Так,
It's, see, like, even I didn't know that point. So, де ви були просто, щоб я міг?
В Львові.
На цей час ми працювали дистанційно у Львові, і всі проблеми, які були навіть у Ганни з Мантасом там, ми вирішували і через наших бійців, які там знаходились, і через наших волонтерів. Тому, але війна, вона ж була не тільки у Маріуполі. Навіть у Львові, я пам'ятаю, коли я полетіла у Канну, і діти мені телефонують і кажуть, мама, порядку 10 ракет і всі поруч, практично. Тобто, я хочу сказати, що і війна в нас вже 10,5 років.
I have to translate. It's okay. It's okay. I'll try to remember as much as I can. But she was saying it was because I was not even aware of that. But they were working this, from the distance. They were in Lviv, which is like one of the furthest western cities in Ukraine, and they were helping Anta's with whatever they needed through the fighters, through the defenders that they knew in Mariupol region.
Like on our way.
Yeah, on their way and in the region, and they were they were with there. But it's what she also said is worth mentioning and very important to remember that war was happening not just in Mariupol, war was happening and still is happening in the entire Ukraine. There were days that there were like 10 bombs falling one after another, just in one city, let alone so many other cities at the same time. And the wars has been going on for 10 and a half years, not just this past 2.5 years of full-scale invasion. Yes.
I just want to comment that Mariupolis 2 is the second film, for those in the audience who don't know. In 2016, Mantas
2015. It was premiered 2015.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So in 2015, Mantas premiered Mariupolis, and he worked on it with Irina, so that everyone knew each other. And it's sort of a precursor film. So just thought I'd clarify that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No,
Yeah, I can.
You have any comments or questions? We'd love to hear.
So yeah, I'm Max, and I'm a filmmaker myself. And as I was watching this film, I wouldn't call it a film; it's a modern art, so to say. And as I was experiencing this art, I took some notes. And you have to realize that the duration of this piece was 1 hour and 47 minutes, and the war was previously stated lasts for 10.5 years, and the phase that we called unfairly diplomatic full-scale invasion, I would call it hell, lasts for 956 days, which gives us 31.4 months or 2.6 years. So it felt like hell to watch this for 1 hour and 47 minutes. Imagine what's happening right now in Ukraine. And in the beginning of the movie, Anna was saying that this movie is about the war and life. But in reality, and it's just my opinion, it's my message that I collected from this film that I was able to translate. It's the film about the God, It's a film about the God, and I have this very idea. And I just recently, a couple of days ago, watched this movie Gladiator from Ridley Scott, and you should definitely watch it.
The old one or the new one?
Because you are the Gladiator, the old one, 2000.
The new one came out.
In the movie Gladiator, they started with the battle, and the battle was like, what are we fighting for? And they were fighting for the Roman victory. They were fighting for Roman greatness, right? And what is greatness? And I would just quote in the movie, it's an idea, right? And I guess without the devil, we wouldn't believe in God. That's the message. Because the prayers was something that kept me going through the movie. And you can close your eyes and not just be distracted by the picture, but the sound. You can't really close your ears. The sound is there, and it's terrifying. And Anna said that, what you're gonna do with the money? We're just gonna go ahead and burn them. And I listened to their prayers, and what do they pray for? They never pray for greatness. They never pray for victory, and they never pray for money. Unfortunately, for some people, money became God. Maybe it's because you just put this in God we trust on a dollar bill, and some people say that it's worth fighting for. I don't think that. So this movie says that that's what happens when democracy doesn't work anymore. That's the reason war started. You have to realize the Soviet Union collapsed, and what we left was, you know, the aftermath of the Soviet Union was very, very corrupt. They were poor and they were after money. And, you know, that's what happens. And I remember that day when Anna told the class about the homework. She says that, sorry guys, I can't really submit the homework because we're going to Mariupolis to make a movie and to help people with the humanitarian aid. I was like, oh my God, what if it just wasn't this notion? And then I guess 2 months later, I read about what happened from the news. And I instantly messaged Anna, like, how are you? Like, I mean, that was a dumb question, but I was just, a reaction from her was enough for me. Like, are you still alive? That was the question. In any war, there is no winners.
Yeah.
So, and you know, what are they fighting for? What was the reason? Money. And what did they prayed for? They prayed for peace. They thanked the Lord for another day, another sunny day. And as that lady was cooking the soup, you know, that was the moment of peace in this film for that lady and for me sitting in this chair. And you know, it's the reminder for us that for Americans, some people saw I'm from Russia, to be honest, you know, and I have the Belarus and Ukrainian origins. I was born in Siberia, which is 4 hours flight from Moscow, and I never thought that it's very important to cast a vote and to speak up and to, you know, do stuff. And, you know, remember this Gladiator movie, they fight for greatness. And look at the motto of the Donald Trump, make America great again. And, you know, history teaches us that history never teaches us. Remember the conflict in Yugoslavia. They wanted to make Serbia great again. See what happens. And, you know, this Putin wanted to make Russia great again. See what happens. And this another gentleman, I wouldn't call him gentleman, but he wants to make America great again. And he's a businessman, he's doing it for the sake of money.
Unfortunately, history is very, you know, cyclic, it just repeats all the time. And it seems like we're not learning anything from the past. We're stepping in the reins of the history over and over again. Now, with everything that's happening, it's literally just back to 1930s and 40s. And you sit here, you're like, how did we get here? But then you realize enough of division, enough of not being educated, enough of just being brainwashed one way or another creates this kind of situation, creates these bubbles of people just in their own little world, divided and never communicating and always thinking, oh, I'm against them, they're against me, and always coming for my throat. So I gotta be, you know, ready and fight. And that's how we are where we are. Because yeah, like you said, we've been, you know, doing it for, you know, you've been around for a while and you've been doing it systematically for decades, not even years, decades. There's a whole generation of Russians who grew up never knowing any other quote unquote president in their lifetime. How crazy is that? If that's not authoritarian regime, that's not dictatorships, then what is? So yeah, thank you for that comment.
Thank you so much.
And what do you have to share?
You're the hero, you're the gladiator.
I got a question here, and I got a statement for later at the end. But
Sure.
so, a question actually is for you, Alex.
Oh, okay.
This is a question for the moderator. Alex, as someone from Crimea, what do you think? Why do you think so many people think the war only began in 2022?
Hate this question, but I love the question. Thank you for asking whoever did it. I've immigrated back in 2015, so last time I've been in Crimea was early 2015 when I was in Croatia. And I've never been back, and I can't go back for obvious reasons. Since then, you know, living here for pretty much 10 years in the US, I've been asked this question so many times, you know, oh, what do you feel about whose Crimea is, right? So like it can be a sign like it's a freaking piece of, I don't know, candy. Oh, whose is it, yours or mine? It doesn't work like that. And, oh, what do you feel about it? Is it better under Russia or Ukraine? Or, oh, so, when the war started, all of these questions, and I would always respond, I would always bring it up to the fact I'm like, hey, imagine you, and I vividly remember that day when they had the so-called referendum in March of 2014, right? Where I talked to my mom, and she was like, and I was like, so the referendum was done. It was clear and obvious that that's it. We're losing Crimea now. And I'm like, wait, so you're waking up tomorrow in a new country? Like, how crazy is that? And that was, it's the 21st century. This is, back 2014. You think things like this never would happen, but, here we were. And that was 10 years ago. Nobody took that serious. Nobody took serious what started happening in Donbass region, Luhansk regions. And then, those territories got essentially annexed as well and became, in constant war. And that was the start of the war. When you lose territory, when somebody comes to your house, takes away one room of your house, then another room, what is that? That's not war. No, it is war. You are at war with that person or with that country now. And just because this just weak, pathetic man couldn't even call it war and called it a special war operation, that just tells you who you deal with and what kind of nation you deal with. Because again, big reminder for everyone that, again, war started 10 years ago, 10 and a half, but also that it's not done by one Putin himself. He's not going and raping every woman, every child. He's not going and bombing every building, every city himself personally. It's physically impossible. It's the entire country, it's the entire nation that's supporting it, that's doing it, that's been doing it even prior to the war in Ukraine. Remember Georgia, remember, Afghanistan and Chechnya and so many other regions. They've been doing it systematically for decades in the modern history and for centuries in the entire history of existing of, Russia. Sorry for a lengthy answer, but, felt like it was important to mention all those things because they all lead one to another, they're all interconnected. And thank you for the question.
Yeah. I mean, just my personal comment, every time you and I talk about this all the time, is that when you're speaking to the Americans out here, I think you need to come from an appeal that Ukraine is on the border of civilization and barbarianism.
Correct.
And what we saw, that's barbarianism. That's not civilization. And I always say that in all my speeches to any group that I have, anybody have the conversation, that needs to start, because all of the Russians' allies are also barbarians. Nobody acts like this, in a normal civilized, manner. And so my just, recommendation is just keep it in that this is terrorism, this is barbarianism, and barbarianism from Russia has been going on for hundreds of years.
Absolutely right. Does do you have anything to comment or to say to us?
I wish every American had to watch this movie. It's one thing seeing on the news pictures of bombed out Ukraine, but when you see this, it hits you in the gut. And also every American should bombard our government officials, tell them support Ukraine, send aid, send military aid. We cannot afford to have Ukraine lose. If Russia overcomes, they're not going to stop. There's going to be Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia going south. They will not stop. Even if when Ukraine wins this war, they're going to find somebody else to attack. I don't know what else to say. This was gut-wrenching, seeing this. Every American should bombard our government officials, aid, military aid.
Thank you. I think it's absolutely important to remind everyone, and there are ways to do it. There are plenty of foundations and organizations where you are, whatever state it is, just look it up. Google, Facebook, it's all there. There's also a perfect resource called the American Coalition for Ukraine. That one is consisting almost of entire U.S. Almost every state, there's like 47 at this point, that has representation from different states in U.S. that are involved advocating on the Hill or in D.C. and local district offices for their congresspeople and their senators. So that's a perfect way to influence and to make sure that help continues to come, and it's not lagging, it's sufficient enough, it's not taking forever to get that help, and less barriers are created to receive that help. Because again, weapons are humanitarian aid for Ukraine because they are saving lives of civilians and saving lives of defenders that are fighting and protecting Ukraine on the front lines.
And then in our video, we will put in a link. So our organization, we advocate to Congress as well, Baltic American Freedom League, and it's very simple for anybody. Just click on the link, type in your address, your information, and it sends an automatic message that we have on all of our campaigns, pro-Ukraine, pro-Baltic, pro-NATO, all that. So we'll
they're absolutely awesome, and they've been doing it for quite some time, so they mastered it. They're really, really good at it. Hannah, you were pointing at something I missed. I missed the cue.
No, it's okay. I want to say thank you to Ausra and her organization for having all our team here.
It's called Blue Yellow
It's
Ukraine.
Blue Yellow USA. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for supporting Ukraine, and thank you for your big heart.
Yes, you're absolutely. I met her just recently, but I've known this organization for quite some time, and I've been seeing how much you guys have done, still doing, clearly. We wouldn't be here sitting, watching this amazing movie, meeting all these amazing creative people, and be not just here in LA, but all of those who are watching, wherever you guys are watching, thank you for doing it. And then hopefully, again, more and more states, more and more cities will be able to see, thanks to you, thanks to Blue Ukraine, Blue Yellow Ukraine,
Blue Yellow USA.
Yes. That's where I always have a confusion. So yeah, you would explain it best.
So in 2014, we met Yana Solomon of Blue Yellow Lithuania, and he had been to the Maidan and he'd come back to Chicago and to LA to show a film about a famous Lithuanian partisan. And we began working with him sort of informally, and we worked until 2019, and he said, you should start an organization. So we did. So we're Blue Yellow USA, and his organization is Blue Yellow for Ukraine, Lithuania. We are separate financially and legally and in every other way because we're a 501c3. We do collaborate from time to time, but that's the clarification.
Perfect. Now I will fully understand.
And we'll put you guys in our description.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. And also, since we're talking about Blue Yellow USA, please donate to them to help continue this tour and to go to way more cities and put this film in front of way more eyeballs as possible. Because again, nothing in this world for free, and traveling, arranging all these places takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of just effort and energy. So every dollar helps. So they would really appreciate it. We would really all appreciate it.
And also remember that a lot of the Ukrainian military units are fighting very hard, and they don't have all the resources they need. Irina's husband is serving in the 59th, and if you're interested in supporting a military unit directly, contact us and we'll tell you where you can do it. If you want to do it through a 501c3, you can do it through us. However, we want you to mark in the company field, if you're doing it online, or on a check, that it's for the 59th-Irina, so that we can support them that way. Or you can support them directly and we'll provide a link.
Yes, thank you. Do we have anything, or should we start wrapping it up?
Yeah. that's pretty much it.
Wonderful. I will quickly translate. Well,
All of that.
Thank you so much, guys, for all your questions and for all your support. Слава Україні!
Разом до перемоги.
Thank you everyone for being here with us, staying longer.